Welcome back, warriors.
Yippee!
Woohoo! We're so excited that you're here with us again this week.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So, Abby, what are we talking about this week?
We are talking about the way rage shows up with technology.
It's always so sermony for me when you do it. It really feels like you should be wearing a robe. Oh, you should be wearing robe.
Oh my gosh. Maybe I've just always not pursued the proper career for me.
You need to become like a minister, but like not a crazy one who
couldn't I just become like a cult leader?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Totes.
I can still do sermons. I can wear a robe and I can talk about whatever the hell I want.
What kind of cult is it then?
Anxiety I don't know, cult? Like a be nice cult, like the cult of being nice, right?
Right. Where it's the opposite of religion cults.
Yeah, the opposite. And I'm not going to take your money. Do what you want with your money. Just show up and be a nice person. And then we'll talk about being nice. I'll sing to you.
I like it.
Yeah.
I would sign up. I would be like your co
hype
minister.
Girl. Co-minister. Yeah.
Co-leader. Co-leader.
Okay. You could co-lead.
There you go.
Got to make sure you got like a good robe for this. You can't just be wearing Tony.
That's true. That's true. I need a real robe.
Yeah. I mean, if we're going to do this and we're going to have a kindness cult, you better have a rockin' robe for it.
Real. It's got to be real too.
Yeah.
Real. Okay. This is a conversation for another day.
Yes. Join our cult.
Right. If you're out there, you're kind and you're interested in being with other kind people.
Yeah.
It's the only requirement.
Yeah. You can find us on technology.
There you go. Yes. Bringing it back. Full circle moment. So warriors, we are talking about the rage that can sometimes fill us when we are dealing with technology.
Yeah.
And so how we feel about tech.
When you say tech, what do you think of? Because technology could be like so many things.
My head immediately goes to things like computers and cell phone.
Yes. Okay.
Even though I realize that technology is a very broad word that encompasses so much more than like electronics in this way that are meant for connecting people and whatever. But my head goes to my computer and my cell phone.
Yes.
Like right off the bat. What about you?
That's exactly it. Same. I mean, it goes to like, when I used to work in a school, it would go to like the copier. Right. Like that would be technology for me.
God,
right.
Didn't even think about that.
Yeah. Or printers, like thinking about printers when printers aren't working. So that's the tech I'm thinking of as well. Is just things that are supposed to work. And then when they don't, the like uncontrollable rage that emerges from me. So, okay. So we're on the same page with technology.
Yeah.
Which is funny because even when you just said technology, it made me think of in 7th grade, we had to take technology class. And in there, we had to like make a car and do woodworking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. That's my point is that the word technology, right, as a field is a field of study, a field of work or whatever. It's a lot more than just what we're saying. So like when we say tech, we agree that our feelings, our rage about technology comes from these machines that we have to interact with pretty frequently or had to interact with pretty frequently. Like you mentioned, copiers and printers. It's been a pretty long time since I've needed to interact with those types of machines.
Right.
But just the other thing that comes up right off the bat is like, I feel like I rely so heavily on these things. I mean, we all do, right? We can agree as a society, we collectively rely on tech, on technology, on let's just stick with what we're talking about: computers, cell phones. If you're working in an office setting or even a home office, right? Like your printer, your copier, fax machine. God, who knows what those are, right?
Ugh.
Gen Z.
You can do it from your phone now. You can fax
scanners
from your phone.
My camera.
Yeah.
I used a real camera for a really long time up until just a few years ago. Even with my cell phone, I would bring my actual camera with me everywhere. And it was it's still my preferred way of taking pictures. But
yeah,
I just, when we talked about doing an episode about our anxiety with technology, we both agreed that the main feeling that comes up with it is anger, frustration, and just pure, like unadulterated, like hatred and rage.
yes,
And
yes.
it's, as people who are generally kind and loving and thoughtful and mindful and curious, right? It's like rage comes up with a lot of the shit that we deal with.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our feelings also have rage like just beneath the surface, which I think surprises a lot of people when they're like, what are you yoga and mindfulness teachers doing feeling rage? And we're just like, we're human beings.
Got into the practice because of the rage. We found yoga and mindfulness because of our suffering.
Right. We're crazy people, but like the good kind of crazy to a certain extent. I'm always saying that. I'm like, yoga people are crazy people. Like we all came here for a reason.
Yeah.
And oh man. So yeah. It just feels like nothing but anger when something should be working and it doesn't work.
Right. When it should be working, it's been working totally fine X, amount of time, and then it just doesn't work. How would you like describe your general relationship with technology, like your phone and computer and stuff?
Yeah, it confuses the shit out of me.
Yeah.
I don't feel like my mind does not absorb information that is extremely technical in any which way, shape, or form.
Right.
So I read things about, like, for example, if something breaks down on my computer, right? Something should be working and it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
Adam will just say, if he's not around to help me, which of course that's my crutch, my go-to is, Adam, please come help me. I can't figure this out.
Right.
And then I'm like, how did you figure out how to deal with this? He's just like, I researched. He's like, I use the tech to help me fix the tech. And I'm like, cool. Now you can just always fix it for me, because I have I don't have the desire or what I believe the understanding to, like, even when I do research stuff, if it isn't explained in very easy to understand layman's terms, writing, I am just like, none of these words make sense. I have no idea how to find this, how to figure it out. And I will say, like, obviously tech has become smart in many ways. And so there's a lot of more differentiation now than I feel like there used to be. Whereas if I go on my computer to Google how to fix a problem on my computer, I can find a lot of different websites or articles or whatever that have information in a variety of modalities to help me to hopefully figure out how to fix something.
Right.
It's like, if I need a video, I can find a video, right? Like if I need something that's written, I can find something written. If I'm looking for, other people asking the same question that I'm asking, there are message boards, right? Like there's a lot of different ways that you can use tech to help you with your tech, but my immediate relationship with it is just like, I'm not interested in you. I feel stupid around you. I don't understand you. I don't want to understand you. I would rather like give all my money to like if Adam wasn't here to fix shit for me, I would just pay someone all the time to come fix stuff. Yeah. Like he'll be out at Drew's for D&D and I have an issue with the, like our Netflix on our smart TV. And I'm like texting him like in the middle of like, he's live streaming for D&D at Drew's. And I'm just like, hey, can you help me with Netflix?
Or like, just hire a live-in tech IT person, like get an extra bedroom and get an IT person who'll just live with you. Yeah.
That's a really good idea. Yeah. I don't really want to live with another person, but just like on call. Just don't have to live here, but just come over any time of the day and just text you, call you, and you're right to the house to
just build them a yurt in your backyard. Give them a yurt. Let them live there
in our yard. We can make that work. Yeah. But that's kind of like, excuse me, where my mind goes when I think about my relationship to tech stuff.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, my instant thought is that it's a love-hate relationship. Right. And it depends on like which technology I'm talking about. But just like you said, like the moment it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, like the rage that comes out of me doesn't match what's actually happening. Like I can't even explain why the rage is so strong, where like I actually have to like use so much like self-regulation practice so that I don't smash my phone or break my computer in half. Like that, the rage that comes out, I will be holding my phone and I want to snap it in half.
Yeah.
But it's really expensive and I don't want to buy another one.
And you need it at the end of the day.
And I rely on this crap, which makes it even harder, right? And so then I have to find an outlet for my rage. But I mean, it's like at some points it's amusing to me, right? How triggering this piece of technology can be. But that is my relationship, is when it works, it's like everything's easy breezy. We get along, there's no problems, we do our work together, right? It's like a nice, quiet coworker, right? You forget they're there. And then the moment it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, I'm like, what is it, like King Kong or no?
Hulk?
I'm the Hulk. Yeah, I'm like the Hulk. And I'm ready to like smash through walls and like scream until my face falls off. Like,
yeah. I'm so curious, like, because I experience so much of that. Just the rage is instantaneous. It's immediate, and it doesn't really equate this to the situation, or it feels like it doesn't equate to the situation. So like, talk to me about what exactly the rage feels like. Like, how does it manifest itself? Like, in your body and mind.
Okay.
Like,
so I'll give like a story example. And also what I have noticed is as technology has gotten more speedy, right? And like, remember dial up? Like when we have to dial up, we had to be patient with that. And now it's like, oh, I'm opening an app and it's not opening. Like my level of patience is so much less, right? So the smarter technology becomes, the less patience I have for its issues. Like, get over yourself.
It's like, you should know how to do this.
Yeah.
Phone.
Right.
You're supposed to be smart.
Yeah, exactly. Who's calling you smart now?
Exactly.
So recently, and I know you know a bit about this story, and it's such a dumb story. It's a very dumb story. As you know, I'm on Instagram. Getting off that piece of work soon. And they used to have 15-second reels, and I didn't do them because it just didn't feel like my vibe. And then they did 30-second reels, and I still didn't really do them. I wasn't really into reels, right? And for anyone who doesn't know what a reel is, it's just a very short video. That's it. And then they got 60-second reels, and I still wasn't doing them. And then one day I said, fine, I'll try a reel, because I'm on Instagram for my business. So I was like, let me see what happens. I was making some 60-second reels. Things were going well. Again, quiet coworker in the flow. We're working together. Everything's fine. I'm putting myself out there. I'm creating content for the gram so that the gram can keep advertising to us and keep people on longer, so people then buy stuff, right? Like, I'm helping the gram out. And Instagram then changed their reels to 90 seconds. And I made a reel that was over a minute, but less than 90 seconds. And I'm trying to upload it, and it won't upload. This was a really short reel. I mean, it took me less than 2 minutes to make it. It's a very short video of me saying something. It was actually me talking about normalizing mental health and offering a tip on a way to normalize it. And it wouldn't upload, and it wouldn't upload. And so then after like trying for like 5 minutes and 10 minutes and 15 minutes, putting the phone away so that I can just go do other stuff while it takes its sweet time uploading, coming back, and it's not uploading. Right. The frustration starts to build into fury, and then the fury starts to build into like absolute fucking rage. Like, right. And I'm like ready to smash my fucking phone into a wall and also break it in half. Right. And so it's like this slow build. It's like, okay, let me try this. Okay, let me try this. Oh, let me turn my phone off and turn it back on. Let me delete the app off my phone and reinstall the app. And nothing is working, and nothing is working. And then I have other pages. I have like a private Instagram page, and you and I share the Anxiety Warriors page, and I might or might not have a page for my dogs. I will not admit if I do or don't. And all of those had the capability for 90-second reels, but my work account did not, left me at 60. And I tried everything. I messaged them, and I could not get the dumb 90-second reels for months. So I gave up. I said, screw you, Instagram. Really? Like, this is how you're treating me? Like, and so I was done. But so it gets into this, like I think about it like, everything's fine. Oh, something's not working. Okay, let me be patient. Let me try to problem solve it. Let me figure it out. Okay, it's not getting figured out. Okay, it's taking more time. Okay, the thing that I'm trying to do is really stupid anyway. Why am I putting so much time into this? But it should work. Others people's are working. Why isn't mine working? Until all of a sudden I am in full fight mode and I am ready to take down a bear. Yeah. So that is like how I would say, it comes up for me, is like, I feel like at the very beginning, I have patience and curiosity. I'm annoyed. I feel it. The tension starts to build. Mm-hmm. And then the longer it takes of it not working, it's just like full blown, like blind fury rage. But then also with a lot of shame, because it's like, why are you giving so much of your energy and your emotion to this stupid thing you don't even really care about? Right? Yeah. And my answer for that is because at a deep level, it connects to my work. Right. And if I can't do my job on Instagram, which is dumb as fuck that I even said that sentence, right? But in my mind, in that moment, that's what's happening. I won't get clients. And if I don't get clients, then I'm not able to survive in this capitalistic society. Mm-hmm. And since I can't run away from the problem, I need to like be enraged at the problem, right? Mm-hmm. None of that works. But anyway, that's like the cycle of what happens until finally I can't fix it. I lose my shit. And then I wait until I can like connect with Dan and be like, can you figure this out? And sometimes he can, and sometimes he can't. Right. He's the tech guy. So he, like Adam, he's pretty good. He also has a lot more patience than me with tech because he does work in technology, creating stuff. He knows words I don't know. He can read technology language that I don't get, Totally. Yeah. So that is like the summary of it, and then like, when I rethink about it, like when, I kept texting you for months being like, emails are not working. I mean, still, even then the fury, like I still am angry at my phone. Yeah.
It's, I mean, like all of it, you said several times that like, this is a dumb problem, right? Like this is a privilege problem, but at the same time, you painted the portrait that like, but it is tied to your work productivity because that's the reality of it. Mm-hmm. That's because apps like Instagram, companies like Amazon, right? Like they're all designed for manipulation, mm-hmm. for more eyeballs, for feelings of FOMO, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, even if it's dumb, it's not dumb because your livelihood is connected to it, whether you wanted it to be or not. Like if you had way back decided, I'm not going to use Instagram for business, then obviously you wouldn't have any reason to be angry. You wouldn't give a shit, right? But it does make sense that you give a shit because you are using it for business and you've been doing that for years, right? And it's helped and gifted you with so much. And like, I could relate. It's like, and it's like things that I think what came up for me listening to you was like so much of the same stuff. It's like, Instagram is a choice. You choose to be on the platform. No one is literally forcing your hand. But once you do, it sucks you into what you feel like you're supposed to be doing. Yep. Then Instagram changes the rules. They tell you what's going to be shown to more folks and for how long. They decide that they like this reel. They don't like this other one you made, right? It's manipulative and it's controlling. Mm-hmm. And while it's a choice that we've made consciously for ourselves, it's really hard to back away from it. It's the same as true for me. When you were talking, it felt triggering because it's like, I wish I could back away from all forms of technology in this type of technology, right? I wish there was a way for me to just like cut the ties completely, and still thrive and, you know, find people and clients and success and whatever. But it just feels like it's impossible. It feels like it's impossible. Like even just creating a website, right? It's like things that I didn't previously think I had to do, that it was like, you don't have a website? Oh, fuck. Okay. I guess I better get one of those. Right. And so like you see other people doing stuff too, and you assume that's the path. That's what I'm supposed to be doing. Right. So yeah, it makes sense to me. It's hard to back away from stuff, however much it seems dumb. It's not dumb if it's tied to your livelihood.
Right. And then when you like when you're talking about like the website, right? I'm getting pissed again already. Like when you were talking about the website, like I didn't want to hire someone to build a website, right? So I learned how to create a website years ago on Squarespace.
Yeah.
And then somewhat more recently, still a few years ago, I was getting a scheduling app, and I had tried one scheduling app to integrate onto my Squarespace account, and it just kept not working. And I spent hours and hours and hours and days, I'm not exaggerating, trying to get this, I don't know, plugin, I don't know what the label is for it, whatever it is, widget, I don't know, to work on my website, because I had done all the things I was supposed to do. And yet anytime I refreshed my website, it wouldn't show up, or it would say like thing disabled or whatever it was. And it was infuriating, one, because it just wasn't working. It was doing all the things I was supposed to do. Right. But two, I wasted so much time on it, like so much of my precious time on this stupid thing. And then even Dan couldn't even get it to work. And so I had to switch to a different scheduling company. Right. And so the other piece, like when you're talking about it, is just like what a time sucker it is. Like there's like this like pressure to enjoy your life, right? Which that's a different type of anxiety and a different story. But there's like this pressure to enjoy your life. And then you get sucked into doing something so mundane as trying to get a scheduling app on your website that for one person might take them 5 minutes because they understand tech. And for me, it took days, and I still couldn't do it. And I wanted to break my computer.
Yeah. So it's just immediate frustration. It feels like we live in a world that we feel like we can't, or at least I'll speak for me. I feel like I can't get away from tech as much as I would love a world where we could just revert back to everything's a landline and nothing is air quotes smart. And you actually had to like, you know, and that even that tech, I'm sure I would have struggled with. Right. And so, and I did right back in my, you know, teens and early 20s before like this kind of tech became a staple.
Yeah.
But I liked what you said earlier. It was just like the smarter the tech gets, the more frustrated you are faster, because it just feels like it's supposed to be fast and easy. There's something about the speed with which, and you brought up dial up, right? It's like we've grown accustomed to things working well, normally, smoothly, and at a certain speed. And so when it lets us down, it feels like a deeper letdown. And because if you struggle like we do with understanding tech, right? We did a whole episode about like how it feels, how much anxiety comes up with learning new stuff. And because tech changes so frequently, right? Even on an app that I'm comfortable with, like Instagram, you know, when I say comfortable, I'm saying that very loosely.
Right.
I'm generally understand the ins and outs of how to do the stuff that I want to do on the platform. That's like what I mean by comfortable. But when new things come out and they change, and now all of a sudden there's no videos, everything's a reel. Any kind of video you make is considered a reel. I'm like, well, what the fuck? Does that mean that they're longer than 90 seconds then?
Right.
Can I still make videos that are longer than 90 seconds? Is it not? If it's not called a video. And it just feels like the hamster wheel of like, I'm never getting off this wheel.
Yeah.
We're never getting off.
Yeah.
And so it's got to be about changing our relationship to it.
Yeah.
Finding ways to separate ourselves from it when we can and as often as we can.
Yeah.
And and acknowledging the fact that it's actually not dumb that it causes us anxiety, because it's really hard. Like, I feel like I'm constantly beating myself up about not being smarter about tech.
Right.
And then that's when, like what you said about the rage, the anger that comes first, then the tears. Then I'm just crying like a lot.
Yes.
Because I feel like I'm stupid. I don't understand
this.
I read it 17 times and I still can't figure it out.
Like, I'm doing the thing it's telling me to do.
Right. And but at the end of the day, it probably isn't about me and my understanding. It's that something else is going on, right? Some of it's my understanding. And I think, look, we all have our strengths, right? And we're not going to be great and proficient and amazing at everything. And there's nothing wrong with that either. And I constantly have to battle my own shame about that. It's like, you don't have to be good at tech. Not everyone's good at tech, you know? Try your best. Sometimes it works and I'll be really proud of myself. Like I'll figure something out and Adam will be like, you did that all by yourself. And like, it sounds condescending. He doesn't mean it in a condescending way. He knows how challenging it is.
Struggle.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I completely feel you. I wish there was a way for us to just more easily step off the hamster wheel more often without feeling like we're losing our livelihoods, wasting our time, or missing out on things too. It's like, like in our news episode, I made the statement of like, Adam will come home and be like, did you hear about that thing? And I'll be like, no. And I'll feel so proud of myself for not knowing what it was yet. Cause eventually I'm going to learn what it was. Right.
Yeah.
But how am I going to learn what it was? All the freaking tech that we have.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it's like, and you said it earlier too, it's a love hate. And I know we're not alone when we say this, like, as much as tech has given us, it's also it's sucked a lot out of us.
Yes.
And so it's all about trying to figure out, how do I navigate this hamster wheel that I'm probably not going to be able to get off of?
No.
And still maintain my sanity to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And,
so do you feel like you want to like break your phone in half or like throw your computer against a wall?
All the time.
Oh, okay, good. Okay.
Yeah. Like that's, to me, I maybe don't feel, I go through the motions faster. The rage is quick. It's forceful and fast. And then I'm crying because that's usually my go-to like release. I'm like angry crying and then I'm just sad crying.
Yeah.
And then I give up, right? Like my tool is just to avoid, to walk away. But like at the end of the day, it's important. That step is important, right? It's that self-care of like, I have to step away from this space, this moment, this phone, this device, whatever, and give myself that self-care, because otherwise I will actually break the device or attempt to. And then, like you said, the phone's expensive or the computer's expensive.
Yeah.
And you're going to wind up having to buy a new one anyway.
And be more pissed then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also, we know this already, but like, I hate texting. So to me, it's still my biggest nemesis is having to text people about anything. I just, even though I prefer it to phone conversations, I just don't like the expectations of texting. It feels like the immediacy of texting bothers me. And while I'm told most people don't expect a text back right away, people still, I have, I get the sense sometimes it's like, well, I haven't heard from you kind of thing. And it's frustrating to me because I feel like I don't want to be held to like, you've got to respond in X amount of time.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to start reaching out to you in other ways, especially if it's not an emergency.
Right.
Like an actual physical emergency.
Right.
Yeah. So I just wish that all the immediacy that tech, and that just, I think that's just our goldfish brain too. It's like, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I get frustrated when I don't hear from a person when I'm dying for an answer sometimes, but I'm not going to tell them that.
Right.
But I definitely have those feelings. I'm not saying I don't, but I also hate the fact that I think a lot of people attach texting to like, it's going to be quick and they're going to see it right away because they're always on their phone and they're going to respond to me in a timely fashion. It's like, and we talked about this in so many other episodes, but it's like what time means to me isn't necessarily the same thing that time means to you.
Yeah.
And
it interrupts our focus. I mean, that's what you just said with the goldfish brain. It's like you and I grew up in a time where we could just focus without being interrupted by technology, And what for me, it wasn't until I think like AIM, right? And it would have the like, boom, or like whatever that's, like I hear it in my head, but and then when I would be on AIM and it would be like a text message on the computer for anyone that doesn't know what that is, AOL Instant Messenger, that was like where it would start with like distracting, right? Like that was like I feel like the beginning for me.
Same. And the expectation
part. Yes, to respond, right? But you could put an away message up with AIM, You could
That's
you
true.
could leave it up and put an away message up. And so I just feel like now it's like, how do we get anything done when we're always on call, right? We're always like needing to respond. Sometimes we have no idea. Like sometimes I think I'm sending a quick text and then it's like back and forth for an hour. And like I enjoy connecting with the person, but also it's like, well, fuck, the things I plan now are out the window because I got engaged in this conversation, right? And it's like growing up, we didn't have that. Like there was a lot more boundaries.
Yes. Right. There was no kind of unsaid expectation for anything. Right. Even when you called someone's house, they didn't answer after 4 rings. You got their voicemail. You got their answering machine, not voicemail. Yeah. You got their answering machine and you left a message and who knows, right? Yeah. Maybe they get it. Maybe they don't. Maybe it takes 2 days before they respond. And like, that was normal.
That was normal.
Yeah. It's like, even just like thinking about shows like Game of Thrones or like things that happened in medieval type times, right? It's like, it took that person a month to travel from their house to your house, even though, in a car, it would have been like, not that bad, couple hours on the road. It's like, it took an actual month, right? For them to get from, say, like King's Landing to Winterfell, right? Like this Game of Thrones references for anyone that doesn't know. But yeah, I mean, it's just like over time, we've gotten used to not having to wait for shit.
Yes.
And having shit just work better and faster. And so when it doesn't, it's so much harder to take.
Right. Imagine like being in I'm just going to say something dumb, like 1700s or 1800s or whatever, like just random, not dumb, random. And like mailing, we had to send mail. And then we had to Raven. We had to like send it out and it had to take X amount of time, right? To get out. And then they had to get it, reply X amount of time back. Like, I wish I had that level of patience for when my reels wouldn't upload.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't have to deal with freaking reels, those lucky bastards in the 1700s.
That's right.
Okay. So how do you go about dealing with the overwhelm that is tech?
I don't know if I have a good answer for that right now. How do I deal with it? I mean, at some point I just give up and walk away, but I don't think I have like a really good go-to practice at all. I think that it's still like it doesn't work. The rage comes up, right? I'm really starting to ask myself like how much I care about this stuff. Like when Reels still stopped not doing 90 seconds at some point, I was like, I don't care. And honestly, I haven't really posted on Instagram that much. And I don't really care. I don't care. Right. So at some point when the relationship becomes so one-sided, right? Like at least with my phone still gives me a lot of stuff, even when my phone doesn't always work. You know, my phone is still, with Instagram, it is extremely one-sided. I always have to keep changing myself to make them better. You know, like if this is a relationship with a human, I would not be involved with them at all. Right. And so for me, in regards to very specifically Instagram, I keep just being like pulling away more and more and more and getting clear on what kind of relationship I want with it, if any. Right. But in regards to like other stuff, I have to like ask myself, like with the scheduling app, and I didn't do it then, but like asking myself, like, how important is this really? You know, and is this something that I can hire someone to do? Is it worth my mental health? Right. And so that is like something I've been playing with because I want to redo my website and I haven't done that yet. But you know, I think ultimately it's worth my mental health to have someone else do it rather than me spend a month doing it. So I think that's where I am. I am, you know, extremely enraged by technology a lot, but I'm trying to separate what's important to like what's unimportant for me.
Yeah.
What about you?
I like it. No, that sounds like self-care, right? It's like, I get the walking away. It's like what I said before. I think it's important to walk away, to spend some time avoiding because it's not worth your peace and your mental health at the end of the day. And so you may go through some rage before you get to the point of walking away, but walking away doesn't necessarily constitute a bad thing. It's not a negative. It can be like, hey, I'm taking a very intentional pause, removing myself from this space with this thing that's causing me nothing but frustration and anguish right now. And and asking yourself those questions, like, is this really important? Is this worth my mental health?
Yeah.
That, like, I know you said you didn't have any tools, but like, those sound like good tools to me.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'd actively practiced by you,
no,
but you know, they sound like tools to me. They don't have to be fancy tools.
They're harder to actively practice when like you just don't know when the tech isn't going to work. Right? Like sometimes it's like, oh, okay, I'm actively practicing a slow exhale before public speaking, right? Or I'm doing X before something else. But like, you know, oh, I'm actively practicing soothing my anxiety, so I do a somatic hold. But with the tech, you just don't know when it's not going to work. And so it's like the, you know, need for control. You know, it's like, it's so much more intense, I feel like. And so it's harder to actively practice, but you can apply it to other things. Right. So yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, what about you?
So it's a little bit of that. It's validating the fact that tech is hard and that there isn't anything wrong with me for not understanding it. I'm not stupid. I'm not, you know, incapable of passing the buck to someone that understands it faster and better and can fix it. Similar to what you said about like, you know, is it worth you spending a month on a new website, or pass the buck to someone that's like, it's their entire job and livelihood to build websites, and they'll do it beautifully. And that's one less thing for your sanity. Right. And so it's a lot of that. It's a lot of validating my emotions about tech and stepping away. It's the I can't do this right now, and so I'm not going to, right? Like I'm saying out loud, like I'm done.
Yeah.
And like, I know this, it sounds bad, but to me, it isn't bad, because the longer I'm away from tech that's doing nothing but causing me pain and anguish and suffering, the more likely I'm going to come back to the tech with fresh eyes and perspective, and most likely then be able to, at the very least, not want to hurl the phone through the window or in the ocean. I'm at least going to reapproach problem solving, let's say, from a new perspective, or I'm going to say, I wasn't able to work through this. I'm still unable to work through it before I spiral again. I'm going to figure out the course of action, whether that's pass the phone to Adam or someone else that can help me, whether it's making a call to, or going on Google and finding out, you know, newer, different ways to tackle a problem. And just kind of being like, I guess my final thing is just saying like, this will get fixed. It may not happen as fast as you want it to. It may cause you all the things right now, all the feelings, but it will get fixed some way or another. This will be resolved. And so like picturing the end result when I'm happy and everything's working again feels helpful to me, because it's hard to find in the moment. But as I said, once I've gone through like my 5 stages of rage, and you know, the anger, the heat, the you know, the just the infuriated state of being, then the tears of rage, then the tears of sadness, and like I'm, you know, going through the like, why can't you figure this out type thing. Once I move through that muck and I'm able to sort of step away completely, if I come back with fresh eyes, and sometimes, a lot of times, I'm able to figure it out then when I pass the heat of the moment when it's not working, or you hit the wall when, you know, shit just should have been working a long time ago and the patience has run out. Maybe you have patience for a little while, like you mentioned before. It's like, you're okay. You're curious at first. Then the longer it takes for it to resolve itself or to get resolved, the more frustrated you are. And then you reach the point where you're like, fuck this, I'm done. You know, you want to just break the phone and have whatever, throw the computer out. So once I get past all the muck and I'm able to either walk away and come back with a better perspective, a calmer state, and try again, the window there is shorter. I come back and try again with like a time frame, right? It's like, I'm going to give this another half hour. And if I can't fix it, it's time to let it go and figure out the next step for getting it fixed. And then maybe that doesn't include me at all.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So that's kind of the process for me with dealing with the tech issues and the anxiety and the anger that comes with facing it.
Yeah. I mean, that part's the empowering part, is like the ability to let go and be like, okay, maybe it's not, maybe I don't have to deal with it. That part is, it's like my brain perseverates on how to fix it.
Right. We want to be the ones to do everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when it's like, should be something easy. Right.
Or shoulding.
Like, no, I know. Right. Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And so it's so hard to like let it go, but the ability to let it go and then like give it to someone else to deal with.
Yes.
You know, like someone that knows what they're doing more is like, that's the empowering piece.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is worth your mental health passing the buck sometimes. Right. Someone that won't be filled with the same insane rage that we are when we're struggling. That person's maybe just really fucking good at dealing with tech stuff. And it's like, let's give those people some ways to feel wins in their own work.
That's right.
Passing off our problems to them.
That's right. They're the experts.
Exactly. All right, warriors. So we hope that this conversation brought up any feelings of understanding in you. Maybe you experience some tech rage when you notice stuff's not working properly or as quickly as you want it to, or that it should. And maybe take some time today or this week to consider, what is your relationship to technology? How does technology make you feel? Do you have good boundaries with your tech? If you were around for some of that old tech that we discussed, like maybe come up with a story or two, you can journal on it or talk about it over the dinner table or whatever with your kids or your spouse or your family or friends or whoever, about how tech impacts your mental health. What are the feelings that come up if you struggle with it in the way that we do? And what are some of the ways that you navigate that anxiety that can come with the rage, the tech rage? Yeah. So,
and maybe, if it's just too much, we'll really just all, start the cult.
Right. The cult of kindness, where we live on an island together and we all have no technology.
Yes. Yep.
Books and crafts and tactile objects only. No screens of any kind.
Yeah.
I know Adam's listening and he's twitching his eyes right now because the idea of no technology would be like the worst thing in the world for him.
You're allowed to leave the cult. You're allowed to leave, and you're always welcome back.
That's right.
Yeah.
Come back when you need to. We need a break from the tech.
Right.
We'll be there with open arms.
Yes.
All right, warriors. Well, we have a shared Mabby win of the week for you all today.
Win of the week.
Win of the week. So speaking of tech that we have that love-hate relationship with, we are super grateful that we have our merch shop, our Threadless shop, where we sell just all the things with our Anxiety Warriors podcast logo and our 80s and 90s designs, our throwback designs, our control enthusiast and recovering people pleaser and sparkle and shine and twinkles and all the things. And we're obsessed with our own merch. And it's always wonderful to have some of y'all who are out there listening and then subsequently purchasing some of that merch. It just feels super duper awesome. We feel excited that people out there are repping our designs and supporting our show and the work that we're doing here on the show. So we had some sales this week and it just brought our hearts so much joy. And we are really grateful. It's one of those happy tech moments where we're like, we use tech and people bought stuff from us and they're supporting us and our work in the show.
Yes. And they're walking around with these really cool, fun designs. Like a lot of people purchase Control Enthusiast, which is awesome. Like, let us be seen. We are control enthusiasts.
And we're here to stay.
Yes, we are enthusiastic about control, and now we want people to know about it. We're not hiding it. We're not ashamed about it, right? So now people can take ownership of themselves.
Yeah, and maybe recommend that you get it in a bright and bold color because then it stands out and people are like, what is that? Like I've had so many people be like, what does your shirt say? I'm like, oh, it says control enthusiast. And then they have questions or they get it right away and they're like, that is awesome. And it's like a conversation starter.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So we are super grateful for this win this week, this shared win of making some sales, and Threadless is an awesome company that I'm so glad that we partnered with because they have a lot of sales over there. So like the deals are good anyway. I feel like things are appropriately priced and the quality is really solid, but also like every month, I feel like they have like amazing deals on different things. Like I know we're recording in the beginning of August and they're having a week-long sale on tees and V-necks and tank tops. But it's like, make sure you're following us on Instagram or jumping in our show notes every once in a while or every week for that matter and checking out to see if there's any deals going on, because there are usually, more often than not, there's some kind of deal going on, 30% off everything, there's something good going on over there. So we are super grateful. That was we figured we'd end on a positive tech note.
Yes. Thanks, tech.
Thanks, tech, for functioning sometimes. Thankfully, that was not a lot of hard work for us. And when there's ever a problem, Threadless is the one that solves it, not you and me.
Right.
The best part of the deal.
The experts are working on it.
Exactly. All right, warriors, we are so grateful that you tuned in again this week. We love you so much. If you'd like to connect for any reason or just hang out with us, we're over on Instagram at Anxiety Warriors Podcast. Feel free to send us an email at anxietywarriorspodcast@gmail.com to shout out your wins of the week, throw some topic ideas at us, or if you think you'd be a great fit as a guest on our show, you're a warrior like us and you have a story to share, let's connect. Let's get it on the calendar and help you share your story on our show. If you can, please take 2 seconds and smash that 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you tune in. We're also on Amazon Music. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And as we're just saying, jump into our show notes, hop on Threadless and grab yourself some Anxiety Warriors podcast swag.
Yes. So thank you all so much for going on this journey with us. We are so grateful we get to do this with you.
Till next time.